So a while ago I made this video about 5 monsterfish and 5 alternatives for these fish. And today I'm making part 2. For those of you who aren't familiar with the concept, in this video I will give 5 common monsterfish, list their pros and cons and come up with an alternative that does have all the advantages but has none of the disadvantages. So let's dive in. So the first fish I want to talk about in the video of today is the Pike Cichlid. And of course the Pike Cichlid isn't one fish, it's a family of fish. But for this video I'm gonna clump them all together. They are a very appealing fish, but they do have some disadvantages. So let's dive in. Breeding Pike Cichlids can be challenging due to their specific requirements and aggressive behavior during mating season. 2. Secondly, Pike Cichlids are known for their aggressive behavior, and in most cases they're best kept alone. The purchase of a Pike Cichlid can be pricey, depending on the species. However, Pike Cichlids also have a clear appeal. Well, the first point of appeal in a Pike Cichlid is their behavior. They are kind of unique. They're on one side they're docile, on the other side they are ferocious predators. They kind of live in the top layer of the aquarium. They hoover around, but when it's time to feed they're very aggressive, so they're very fun to look at. Secondly, they often have bright and beautiful colors, which makes everyone stop by your aquarium to see what it is. And thirdly, they are a species-only fish, mostly, but this can be a nice challenge for some aquarists. So, if I have to come up with an alternative for the Pike Cichlid, I'm gonna trade one family for another family. I would say killifish. Killifish come in lots of colors, mostly bright colors. Some of them have the reputation of being aggressive, but most aren't really that aggressive. You can keep them in a species-only aquarium. They're easy to breed, but they're readily available and they don't need such a large tank. The second fish I want to talk about today has a place in my head next to the Pike Cichlid, because in a lot of ways they're similar, but there are some clear differences. I'm talking about snakeheads. And yeah, once again, I didn't choose one specific fish. This is also a family. I promise you, this is the last time I'm gonna pick on the family, but for the sake of this video, let's just continue like this, okay? The first con of keeping snakeheads is that they require a semi-annual temperature drop. So for half a year each year, you need to drop the temperature of their aquarium, which might be difficult for some people, but also it makes it very difficult to find compatible tank mates. Secondly, these fish are very aggressive and can hardly coexist with other fish, making it nearly impossible to maintain a community aquarium. Thirdly, and we have to talk about this, snakeheads aren't available everywhere. In lots of places, snakeheads are illegal, and that is due to the fact that they are invasive. These are such apex predators that when released in the wild, they can quickly take over everything. Is everything bad about snakeheads? Certainly not. Appeal 1. Colors. Firstly, Chanas come in various beautiful colors and patterns, making them an asset to any aquarium. Secondly, the semi-annual water temperature drop might be a nice test for some aquarists or a nice new challenge. And also, you don't have to worry if your heater breaks, because they can survive in lower temperatures. The slender, snake-like body of the Chana gives it a unique and fascinating appearance. So, the solution I have in mind for snakeheads is a fish that also has an elongated body, lots of colors, can live in colder water. I'm talking about gobies. The third fish I want to discuss today is the piranha. These are famous fish, and their reputation goes beyond the aquarium hobby, but there are some clear disadvantages at keeping piranhas. Let's dive in. Firstly, contrary to what you might expect, piranhas can be shy and withdrawn. This means you might expect to have a heroic and aggressive fish, but in real life,
They spend most of the day hiding or passively swimming back and forth.
Secondly, piranhas live in schools, and since the average species of piranhas can get about 35 centimeters or 14 inches, a school of these fish will quickly become gigantic, leading to a giant tank, giant food bill, etc.
And that brings me to point 3. Because they grow large and live in schools, you need a fairly large aquarium to keep them.
However, this famous fish has a clear appeal. Firstly, you're probably going to be putting your piranhas in a species-only aquarium, which might be a nice test for an experienced aquarist.
Secondly, piranhas are one of the few predatory fish that live in schools, which allows you to keep a species-only tank that is still nicely filled.
And thirdly, of course, like the biggest appeal about piranhas, it's their eating behavior. You can drop in some food and it will disappear within seconds. Like, I might be a bit sexist here, but doesn't every boy want to see this? So for this one, I have the perfect replacement, because you're not gonna lose anything. You're still gonna see the same eating behavior, pack mentality, but in a smaller size. I'm talking about the bucktooth tetra. The bucktooth tetra only grows to about 12 centimeters or 5 inches, making it way easier to house in the aquarium. The fourth fish we're going to be talking about is a gar. The gar is an impressive fish with a large snout or large beak, and it's often misunderstood in the aquarium hobby. But I'm not going to say too much, let's just dive in. Well, we're going to start with the disadvantages. And one of the most obvious disadvantages of owning a gar is the fact that they get humongous. Some of the species that you can get in the average aquarium shop grows to about 120 centimeters or 47 inches. This is gigantic. Just imagine the size of tank you would need to house this fish.
And that brings me to point 2. That turning cycle has everything to do with their vulnerable mouth. Because their mouth protrudes so far, they cannot turn around in small spaces. Often you see gars kept in too small tanks with damage around their mouth because they unfortunately bump into things.
And thirdly, buying a gar can be expensive, so it's something to consider.
However, gars also have a clear appeal. Gars are fish that dominate the top layer of your aquarium. As many aquarists know, it's difficult to find interesting fish for the top layer. Gars are one of the few.
And secondly, it's the unique shape of the head of a gar. Like, it's kind of owning an alligator that has mated with a fish or something. It just looks awesome.
Despite their size and predatory nature, gars are relatively calm and can coexist well with other fish.
So there were several fish that I could have chosen to be the solution for the gar, but I went for half-beaks. Half-beaks grow to about 8 centimeters or 3 inches. So the average aquarium should be fine for these fish. They also stay in the top layer, can live in groups if you want, and have similar looks as a gar. And the last fish I wanted to discuss today is one of my personal favorites. But this fish comes with a lot of disadvantages, and that's why I haven't owned one yet, and probably never will.
Giraffe catfish grow gigantic. They can easily reach 90 centimeters, 35 inches, which comes with the necessary complications.
Secondly, giraffe catfish eat everything. Like, anything that fits in their mouth is gonna disappear.
To keep a giraffe catfish properly, you need a heated pond. They require such large aquariums that they're best kept only by zoos and people with truly gigantic aquariums.
But as I mentioned before, I kind of like this fish and I hope to one day own this fish. But I first need to get like unlimited money and unlimited space. But I can tell you about the appeal of this fish. So firstly, they are gentle giants. Like, they're big and of course they can eat everything, but they have like kind temper and are easygoing, and yeah, they're just a gentle giant.
Speaking of which, with their unique appearance, they can win over many hearts. Their giraffe-like head gives them a slow and kind of nerdy look while simultaneously being very endearing.
And thirdly, they can act as a cleanup crew for a large predatory tank. And this is a big advantage, because when you keep predator fish, your aquarium can become very dirty very quick, and having something on the bottom to clean up for you is very nice. So for the last alternative in this video, I'm gonna cheat a little bit, because my alternative for the giraffe catfish is gonna be the dwarf giraffe catfish. It has a similar look, but it doesn't have a similar size. The giraffe catfish only grows to 25 centimeters, which is 10 inches, which makes it suitable for most aquariums, or at least most medium to large aquariums you can easily find in the aquarium shops. And that's it for now. 5 monsterfish and 5 alternatives to get instead. Do you have other monsterfish for which you would like an alternative? Let me know in the comments. For now, thanks for watching.